Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming into another video. All right, so I halfway looked at the Laker highlights. That's how much interest I had in this game. I'm just didn't care as much today. Um, had nothing to do with my mood or anything. It had to do with the Lakers themselves. I'm just at a point where I just know what I'm looking at, and it's the game before LeBron is supposed to come back. We're playing against the champs. We weren't going to beat them tonight, even though they've been struggling lately. We've been struggling even more. First home road game in over probably 2-3 years. It seemed like we've been playing at Staples Center and getting our butts kicked. So I'm assuming going on the road wouldn't be much better for us, and it wasn't. We kept the game close, even had the lead somewhere in the third quarter, but ultimately, um, we got in our own way as we always do with the poor decisions that we make. And that's the story of the season for us thus far. We saw some great things out of THT, though. I'm gonna be honest with you; he's been the saving grace of what would otherwise be a disastrous couple of games for us. He's playing better than I ever dreamed he would play, and to be honest with you, he doesn't have a whole lot of help out there. That's really what I'm gathering. Um, I got on here right before his debut and said, temper your expectations because he doesn't usually put up those type of numbers. And although he will one day break out, he isn't there yet or blah, 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 blah. But his conditioning and where he's been uh, developing is really showing us. It's showing up right now in the play and his overall game is just a lot better than what I remember it being. And that's a testament to his work. So, you know, you knew it was coming, and you knew it was possible to come right now. But I just felt like it would be smart to expect more of inconsistent play from him because we haven't seen a lot of him since we last saw him at that level. So that was my thinking. But he quickly put that to rest, and he's been very consistent through 3 games. So I'm very, very happy. And it's been unfortunate that he hasn't been able to have any success winning. But that ain't his fault, to say the least. So we saw more of the same from him tonight. Continue to be featured, to continue to drive to the rim at a high clip, finishing, hit some threes tonight, did some great things on the defensive end. He's just being a real star level player for us right now, and I love the idea of what we look like with him playing at that level and LeBron James coming back into the fold. I think our team dynamic becomes very interesting once you have those two players on the floor together. They're both unselfish. They both attack. They both can shoot a little bit. LeBron's not much of a shooter, but he shoots anyway. He can hit them. And they're both, going to provide that forward perimeter defense out there that we're missing. Um, so you could kind of see where improvement is imminent as we start to get healthier because you could you get to be reminded of what the actual vision of what this team is. We're missing some very key pieces, and it's very easy to forget that. And Kendrick Nunn should be out there getting more than 18 minutes a game. THT is obviously a regular rotation player. Of course, our star player LeBron James is missing. Um, we are missing Trevor Ariza, whom we've yet to see in this uniform. And, we're also missing, of course, um, our boy HBK, Austin Reeves, who's a very important piece to what it is that we do. So when we get our full spectrum of players, you'll see lineups uh, probably have a little more success. Our small ball lineups will be a little bit better. Some of our stand around offense will be a bit more polished because guys will be more talented, I guess, in those areas. So, look, I said that with a bit of sarcasm. Stand around offense is awful. To be completely honest with you, it's the worst thing about our team right now outside of our defense. It's just the fact that we run a whole lot of stagnant offense. And we've talked about this on this channel. This isn't new. You know what I think should be done at this point. I just think that the changes that we need to make are changes that um, probably aren't popular in that locker room, probably aren't popular in that organization. But I think if we're going to salvage our season, salvage LeBron James's tenure, we need to be drastic about how we improve this team right away. And the first order of business, as I've said in previous videos, is to change the coaching role. We have to do that. We have to do that. Frank looks stressed to me. He looks stressed out, overwhelmed, unhappy, and clueless as to what he needs to do to make this team work. What he needs to do to get these guys to buy into what it is he got going on. That's what I'm gathering. He doesn't look happy. We're not happy, and we're losing. When we get our full spectrum of players back, again, we will improve. I think we'll be a playoff team. We'll get in there, make some noise, and we'll go as far as LeBron and AD take us. But eventually it's going to come down to how do we use Russell Westbrook, of course, and where do we find defense at? And I just don't know where the answers to that are going to be. Tonight, what I saw in the highlights, because obviously it didn't give me a whole lot of context, it was just more of the same stupid stuff I complain about every single game. Small ball, fourth quarter lineups, giving us absolutely no opportunity to rebound the ball or guard the big players on the other team. The best big in the basketball right now, Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I know a lot of people don't look at him as a big, but he is definitely a big. And he outplayed all of our players out there tonight because we didn't put Dwight or DJ down there to try to contest him with length. We left AD down there. AD doesn't play the 5. AD was kind of off of him a lot of the times. I only saw him in a couple sequences. So it wasn't really about AD checking Giannis. It was more so about other people checking Giannis. And we saw sequences where THT was down there in the paint trying to check him. Clearly that wasn't going to work for us. We needed size down there, and I understand that our centers are not the most effective players today. But at the end of the day, they're 7 feet and they're defensive minded, and we needed that. And we didn't have it on the floor, and it was a problem once again. And I said this when we got DJ, not so much about Dwight, but definitely about DJ. If you're not using him, then what are you bringing him for? You know, he's a player who's limited in his ability to begin with, but the things that he can do, you need him to do, and you're not allowing him to do it. And I don't love the idea of having him out there trying to guard Giannis. Don't get it twisted. That's not something I would prefer. But we got to use what we have. That's the point. You can't just not use what you have and then end up getting the results that you know are coming one way or another. You got to give yourself the best chance to at least not see that. And I just don't think Frank is giving us a chance at any opportunity at success in these games. These are losing schemes. That's the problem. And it yes, a lot has to do with the lack of players out there, the personnel, but more so has to do with just how they're running and what they're running out there. And that improvement is necessary. So, and look, AD, we've talked about Anthony Davis and where he stands as a superstar today. I still think of him as one of the most effective defensive players the game has ever seen. And I think that his offensive ability is outerworldly. But I don't think that his motor is up to par right now. I've seen him play with more energy. I've seen him play with more passion. I've seen him play with more athleticism and better conditioning. And I think, I don't really know how to perceive what's going on with AD. I don't know how to perceive that. I'm trying to wrap my mind around how best to look at the situation, because he really is putting up superstar numbers. He's going to be an all-star this year. That's not up for debate at all. He's playing up to all-star level play, but it's just like what level you remember him being at. Cut and dry, he's not playing up to that level. The level that he's being paid to play at, that's not the level of Anthony Davis we're seeing out there. What I see, cut and dry, is a guy who's very, very wealthy and very happy with his life. Cool, like absolutely cool. And I said that. I was like, he looks like a guy who just kind of satisfied. You feel me? Like, you You ever see like the cartoons of the rich guy who's fat and happy, and he's just sitting back, he's fat and happy, he's got a scar in his mouth, he's holding all his money, he's just chilling. That's the vibes I'm getting from Anthony Davis. Like I'm wealthy. I'm a half Billy in, and basketball's cool. But man, when I go home, I'm living the best life in the world. I got a beautiful family. He comes off as one of those guys, and it's like that's perfectly fine if you're not the star of my damn basketball team that I root for, because I'm used to the Kobe's and the Shaqs, and that type of passion you cannot um, bring half ass passion to Laker fans just because you've reached a certain echelon in your status. Because Kobe was a billionaire running around with a broken finger, putting in 3 a.m. double workouts and triple workouts to provide us the best product um, that was possible. And I will not accept less from our superstars. I will not. As a fan, I'm spoiled in that way. Not only as it pertains to us winning championships, because that's a different level. Championships don't always fall in your favor. You don't have to always be a superstar to give me this energy, because I can think of players that were nowhere near superstars that gave me the level of passion that I was respectful of. I think back on guys like Mark Madsen, who gave me energy I respected. Meta World Peace, you know what I mean? Guys like Samaki Walker used to give us energy. Like I could think of players that were not of cachet that gave me more in terms of what I'm looking for from AD than I'm getting from him. Rick Fox gave me more of that at times. Like I just need more passion, and not as it pertains to fighting the refs or fighting your teammates or anything like that. Just do it in the form of more execution. And I think more of that has to be pointed at our coach once again, because it's like, what do you have Anthony doing out there? A lot of times Anthony's trying to create for himself. A lot of times Anthony's catching the ball at 23 feet away and asked to make decisions from there. It's not a lot of movement going on around Anthony to create space for him to move, to create threats of guys flashing here and there. And see, that's why I always mention stand around offense, because what you become is easy for the defense to zone in on. And I just really believe in more so motion offense, motioning, constant movement, running off of picks, that Reggie Miller, that Rip Hamilton, that play off the ball energy. We need more of that. Run a guy off a screen, flash, back screens, back cuts, all of that stuff, curls. I'm not seeing enough of that stuff, man. I'm seeing guys line up in different directions and just stand there and then waiting for a guy who's maybe not that great of an ISO player try to make ISO plays. It's like, Frank, you're a basketball coach, bro. You know bad offense when you see it. And everybody on that team know what I'm talking about. Everybody that's in that locker room is aware of what it is I'm referring to. We're just not playing a unpredictable style of basketball, man. And a lot of the things that go wrong are because of it. And I can't stress that enough. I see Russell Westbrook turning the ball over. I see AD shooting jumpers all of the time. But let me tell you, AD doesn't shoot those jumpers if he's catching the ball closer to the basket. Russell Westbrook isn't making those bad passes if he's not put in position to make those passes. Guys are lined up in such a way for those mistakes to be made and for those situations to occur. And that is always on the coach. You know what I'm saying? It's a chessboard. And how you line those players up on that chessboard will determine what type of moves are made. You can get on a guy for doing all types of stuff, but what you don't see behind the scenes is how they are lined up on the floor and the planning that goes behind that, and who's on the floor and when, and how that affects everything. Basketball is extremely fluid of a sport, and everything is very much connected. And if you don't have everything that you need in terms of the basketball floor, your team, your coach, your scheme, all of that needs to be in place. If not, you had better have a hell of a talented Kyrie Irving, Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, break you down, James Harden type of dude. If you don't have that, you're struggling. And that's what I'm seeing out there is a whole lot of lacking that. Russell Westbrook, I think I'm ready to say something about Russell Westbrook that I ain't heard nobody say. But I think part of the problem that Russell's dealing with right now is Father Time. I think this is his version of regression. I think that's what we're seeing. He still has the foot speed, the leg speed, and all of that. So he could still move downhill 10 times faster than others. But what I'm seeing is him struggling with finishing. He's struggling with balance. He's struggling with making good decisions as it pertains to holding on to the basketball. And some of that is mental mistakes, but I wonder if some of that is him trying to overcompensate for his body not reacting to the way that he wants it to. It's the same thing I say about Dame Lillard in terms of his shot being off to start the season for an extended period of time. Wondering if he was healthy, wondering if his body's reacting the way he wants it to now that he's in his 30s, if he needs to ramp it up in his workouts or change his diet or something, because it can affect a lot of different things. I think Russell Westbrook's kind of dealing with the same thing in a different way. Like his struggles are showing. And I don't think that Russell Westbrook has ever really had to think about his body. It kind of just did what he wanted it to do. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I've tried to put myself in a mental space of a guy with that type of athleticism. You're getting to wherever you want to be at a speed that no one else can. You're used to being able to beat people 2 spots, elevate off the floor, and explode. And while he can still do that, can he still do it to the level that he's used to doing it? Or does he have to exert more energy as to which is making him think, and thus he's making mistakes? Because otherwise he wouldn't need to think, because his body just did exactly what he needed to do all the time. You know, when you're that athletic and that strong, even the slightest deterrent to that strength, even you losing a bit of weakness, it may not show up in terms of you being able to run fast and go downhill, but you're going to feel it. You're going to be sitting there saying, man, why am I out of breath? Why am I huffing and puffing? Because if you know it's a guy like Russell Westbrook with that type of athleticism, he ain't never huffing and puffing when he was younger. He could play 2-3 overtimes still moving. It wasn't until these last couple years, particularly these last 2 years, 3 years, to where you started seeing him have issues where he couldn't get off the ground. Now he's getting hung on the rim on dunks and stuff like that. And that translates sometimes to your body not doing what you need it to do, and then you thinking too much as opposed to being able to just freely play out there. And then you couple that with your coach giving you nothing in terms of putting you in positions to do what it is that you can to succeed. It's a perfect storm of horrible. It's horror. You know, it's just horrible. And I think I do believe that Russell Westbrook would do better in a better situation, and I think that situation needs to come to him, because we certainly can't send him to that situation. So, yeah. Broken record time. Fire Frank Vogel. Gotta fire him. I know we're not going to trade Russell Westbrook for Ben Simmons, even though that's what I'm hopeful will occur. But I know that is not going to happen. So we need to get Frank Vogel out of here and bring in an offensive-minded coach, since we have offensive-minded players, and have them running some really, really dope stuff out there. Lots of motioning, lots of movement, lots of everything we've already talked about. Because if we don't switch it up, I don't think we're going to win the championship. And I say that with some sarcasm, because I really meant to say I don't think we're going to make the playoffs. I think LeBron James-led teams always make the playoffs, so if he's healthy, he'll be there. But he needs some help, y'all. He needs some help. I love what I'm seeing out of THT. Malik Monk was good tonight. Like I said, when we get all our players back, we got some things to like. But at the end of the day, we had better get ourselves a coach that understands the importance of matching up. Because this is Luke Walton 2.0. We're dealing with some Luke Walton crap right now. You know, just bonehead stuff. What are you doing? Giannis Antetokounmpo, literally the most athletic player in the league. arguably the most effective player driving at the rim today. Why is he being guarded by somebody 6'5"? Down the stretch of a basketball game, it's pretty dang close. We're only down by like 6, 7 in this situation. You know, now if DJ and Dwight ain't on the floor, you get nothing out of me. I ain't gonna argue. But if I'm going up against Giannis Antetokounmpo, I might probably have them both on the floor, parked somewhere near the paint. And anytime he comes anywhere near that, we collapsing on him with them two big bodies. And we're going to force him to be a jump shooter. He's been working on his three-point shot. We're going to prove he's going to have to make that. He ain't going to have no back-to-the-basket jump hooks over no THT. That's going to be Dwight Howard. That's going to be DeAndre Jordan, both on him. And I know people are like, well, that's going to mess up your offense. Oh, that's going to ruin your offense. What good is my offense if Giannis Antetokounmpo is going for 50? What am I doing offensively anyway that's giving me an opportunity to win this game? Nothing. That's nothing. The problems that we have are on the defensive end. Our jump shooters are hitting shots. You could have left Wayne Ellington out there. You could have put Malik Monk out there. You could have put Carmelo Anthony out there. Or THT. Obviously, you have THT. Maybe remove him. Let him be the playmaker in that situation and run them two centers out there. And let Giannis try to shoot over both of them. I mean, those are the type of out-of-the-box things that you have to try. And if it doesn't work, we get blown out, then sit them centers down and try something else. But the point is, you don't leave THT out there to try to guard Giannis and think, you know, please God, and think that's going to get it done. You can pray, it ain't going to work. And most importantly, it's disrespectful to Giannis. Don't play with him like that. So, I was ready to fire Frank after the last game. Still feel the same way. Yeah, this game only to make me double down on that. This is not working. And I know, you know, smart minds and stable minds are patient, right? LeBron James and those guys, they're smarter than me. They're patient. They're going to figure themselves out. They're going to come to whatever conclusions they should, and when the time is right, I think they'll make the decisions that ultimately they should. Problem is, I've come to the conclusions that they should make those decisions sooner than maybe they conclude they should. I think they're gonna wait this out. They're gonna figure out it ain't gonna work, and then they're gonna probably pull the trigger on some of these things probably near the All-Star break. And that's just, to me, that's just protocol. When you know something's going wrong early, it seems like posturing to me to not do something about it right away. You know? And maybe it's just because I've given up on this. But I don't think I've given up on this. I've just given up on the notion that we can salvage it as is. You know what I mean? You just got to tweak it a little bit. That's all I'm saying. AD and LeBron James have already proven they can win a championship. Even with Frank Vogel, they can win. You just got to make sure the right players are in place to help them do that. We don't have that. So a lot of this is on Rob Pelinka. I've called him out in the previous video slightly. I'm going to call him out even more so right now. A lot of this is on Russell Westbrook and the players for not playing as best as they need to. A lot of it is on Frank, as we've already talked about a million times. You are not let off the hook, GM. You're not let off the hook. I think you're one of the best GMs in the league, but some of the stuff that we did this season, it just ain't enough, man. We're not good enough right now. And don't get it twisted. Those shooters that you brought in, they shooting. I ain't mad at nobody. Malik Monk, Wayne Ellington, Carmelo Anthony. Them dudes is doing exactly what I want them to do. Dwight Howard is not having a good season right now. DJ's, he looks good. He's just not playing much. I mean, he's actually been a pleasant surprise for me. I've had low expectations for DJ, so he's actually been great in my mind. You know, I'm happy with the team. It's just that we just don't necessarily have what we need to make it fit right now, you know. And maybe Bron comes back and gets us a few wins, but I just feel like he's going to have to drag this team wherever they're going. Drag them. And look, shouldn't be like that, AD. Should be like that, Russell. You know what I mean? I would talk. If I were Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis, I would have a conversation about what we need to do to put pressure on the franchise to run a better offense that we can look good in. Because that is what's not happening right now. They're not looking good. You know what I mean? Anthony Davis should be averaging more points, should be looking better, he should be a better offensive player. Russell Westbrook's playing the worst basketball of his life. We talked about it a million times. You know what I think of that. They need to come together and then put pressure on Frank and put pressure on others. Whoever is running the offense, Bron, put pressure on these guys to mold an offense that doesn't have you guys looking awful out there. Because, yeah, a lot of what we're seeing is effort. But again, guys have a lot of effort when it comes to things that they like doing, things that make them feel good, things that make them confident, things that make them look good. They'll be, you know what I mean? You'll put in effort to do stuff that is fun and that is going to exploit you to look good. When you're doing stuff that don't feel right and doesn't work, you're not going to put the effort in. When your defense, you know, you're not even matched up properly, you're not going to be pushing yourself to the limit like you should. And that's why it's important to have a guy that can galvanize troops and things like that, to have a rah-rah coach, so to speak. That's why those things are important, because it ain't just about X's and O's. It's about having people in place who can motivate you, press the right buttons to get AD to score 60 points again, and get Russell Westbrook to, dig deep and try to make the right decisions with the basketball. No one on our team is able to do this, and that's a problem. And when I get on here and I say, AD, you're no longer a top 10 player, I have to take into account why he looks anything less than a top 10 player. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because that's where I wanted to go with this video. Like, AD, Giannis got on your case, and he put to bed any idea of y'all being in the same league together. Like, that's what I took from today's highlights. Giannis said, me and him ain't the same. Straight up. And if I'm AD, I took that a certain way. You know what I mean? If I perceived it a certain way, I took it a certain way. And I'm gonna make damn sure when he comes into Staples, I'm gonna give him them 60. I'm gonna give him that 50 point game he just gave me. I'm gonna give him 55 for that. But see, I gotta see that in him. You know what I mean? I ain't seen that type of killer in Anthony. He don't have that, from what I've seen. You know, he'll get mad at certain circumstances, but not at the players that are trying to take him down, unless they're Jokic. He seems to dominate Jokic. Everybody else, you know, he will play, you know, but he's not looking to take your heart. And I want to play with that kind of talent, that type of efficiency ability, to have have it locked in, have that third eye open, locked in to just, I want to take over this basketball game. I want to beat that guy. You know what I mean? That's Joel Embiid. He getting 45 out of me. Evan Mobley, that young fella, they say he's the next me. He getting 35 out of me. That's what I want out of AD, man. You know? And I know he can get angry. You see him get angry. But not in productive ways. Not in ways that are going to make the defense pay. So he needs a coach that's going to bring that out of him. I think of a guy like Chauncey Billups. He would be playing that hard for Chauncey. I think of, and see, that's the thing. It's like certain guys feed off of certain coaches' energies and things like that. I don't know these guys. I don't know AD. Maybe he doesn't feed off that, but I get the feeling that AD would run straight through a wall for a coach like that, like for real. Somebody who can look him in the eye and say, "You ain't being no damn leader, bro." And maybe he get mad at him. Maybe you cuss him out, but it's gonna be the type of challenge that he needs. That's what I gather. Somebody needs to just, because Bron ain't that kind of guy. You know, and the other players on this team, they can't do it. Even if it's in their personality, it's a bad business decision. Somebody needs to be able to come in there with some cojones, light a fire under AD that works, press the right button with him, and we'll get that out of him. You know, we'll get that out of him. I think that's why the Lakers were interested in maybe getting Monty Williams in, because if I'm not mistaken, Monty was a coach of the New Orleans Pelicans for a while. Played some of his best ball in the Monty, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's why they were trying to get Monty as a candidate. Maybe that was the move, man. Maybe that was the move. I don't know, but this Frankie V stuff, I'm out. I'm all the way out. I'm all the way out. So, yeah, man, I thank y'all for rocking with me. I know this is a pretty long, lengthy video, but I'm passionate about my team. Y'all know that. And when it comes down to it, I don't expect us to win games like this. And I wasn't too disappointed in the way the game went, to be honest with you. I just saw more of what I continue to complain about, which is small ball lineups, bad defense, and stagnant offense, which is a recipe for failure every single time. So, fire Frank Vogel, and y'all have a great night. My name is BDO44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.